And I believe we're live. We're just going to wait a few moments so I can catch up on the other side. This music on a little bit. Welcome, guys. Maria here. We are into week 2 of the creation frequency. Last week we spoke about, or we touched on energy, how energy is manipulated, how we create energy, how it gets destroyed, how the subconscious mind can be the driving force in your reality, how it can override your conscious efforts to creating your reality, and how we need to troubleshoot that and replace it with programming that we desire so that we can be that driving force consciously in creating our reality. So with that said, we are going to go into it. So week 2 is all about the intention creation formula. So it's an 8-part formula to create the intention. Now the intention can be a page long. Basically what you want to do is create the scenario as if it's already happened. You want to evoke the feelings, you want to visualize it, you want to have it in a positive language, you want it all and feel it, and you want to feel it and you want to be excited about it. It can be a page long, it could be 2 pages, it could just be a paragraph. You want to evoke that feeling, and then from there, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I want to kind of do it step by step as the author from the Creation Frequency book is kind of going along with it. So I'm going along with what he's doing, and I'm trying to pace myself. So I don't want to get too far ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of dial it back a little bit. Okay. So with that said, I want to go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go ahead and touch into some key points before I go into the 8-part formula. And then I will go through and just let you know what they are, and then touch on each one of them, explaining what it is that you need to be mindful of with each one, and explain how that interacts and serves as a catalyst to empower this intention. Okay, so let me start by quoting Robert Fritz from The Path of Least Resistance. And it is, if you limit your choices to what is possible or reasonable, you disconnect yourself from what you truly want, and all you're left with is a compromise. Don't focus on your fears, essentially. Focus on creating the life that you desire, what you truly want, where you want to be in return. Desires must be empowered by clear intentions, and it's not enough to have a vague sense of it, a vague sense of connection. You have to be very clear about it. You have to be totally on board. It needs to be brought into full conscious awareness. Okay. We instinctively move towards what we want when we become consciously aware of it. So that's that's what's helpful in this instance. So when you become consciously aware of it, you instinctively move towards it. You're like, oh, that's what I want. Let me work my way to that. Okay. So this particular style of writing the intentions is not just words on paper. You need to create a vibrant, multi-sensory version or vision, I should say, of what you truly want. Okay. So implementing this 8-part intention formula faithfully will remove any thought barriers that you have in your subconscious mind that will inhibit the manifestation. So in the process of doing this, you're not going to be able to help but do some shadow work. You're going to be diving deep and digging deep and seeing what makes you tick, and what kind of feelings are kind of underlying to what you truly want to create. So with that said, it'll also energize your intentions. So this formula. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell you what they are, and then we'll go into it. So number 1 is present tense. Second part is positive language. Third part is emotionally powerful and authentic. 4 is a spirit of gratitude. 5 is what you truly desire. 6 is eliminate judgment. 7 is infinite possibility. 8 is upgrade as you evolve, right? So going back to the first part, present tense, right? So the first part of the intention creation formula is present tense. Describe your intention as a current reality, not as a future hope or dream. You want to be describing this as if you've already achieved it, as if it's already in existence. Think of the perfect scenario as it already exists. Visualize how you see your life. Evoke the way it feels when your intentions are fully manifested, right? So, a side note with this is to just remember that your mind and every cell in your body, your physical body, cannot tell the difference between reality and imagination, okay? Time is nonlinear, and we are in the ever-present now. So let's say, for example, and I'm just going to give you a for example, you know how some people live in the past, and it could be in forms of some kind of scenario that brings regret, brings sadness, brings depression, brings guilt. And so they bring that to the present moment, and because they're reliving those moments, they're in a constant, perpetual pattern of embodying those emotions, and in turn, those emotions will create the reality. And so they're kind of like in this repeat pattern. Same goes for positive emotions, whether it's from past events or potential future events. So if you bring that in and embody those, just as you can embody the emotions from the past, you can do the same for your potential future. Bring that in, embody that, and you can create that which you want. The universe works in the present moment, not in an imagined future. That's why you have to proclaim what it is now, that it is not right now. So you want to go in the sense that it's already happened. Moving on to the second part is positive language, right? The universe doesn't understand negative language. Well, it does understand. It doesn't understand bad from good. It'll understand what you tell it to. It's not going to judge what you feel, or it's not going to differentiate. It's not going to try to reword your sentence for you and say, oh, this is what you really want. It's not going to understand not. It's not going to understand no longer. It's not going to understand can't or I don't want. So the don'ts, the no's, the no longers. No, you have to go and be just kind of like come from a place of abundance. Stay in a space of abundance, not of lack. It won't create the desire that you need or want if you are describing it from a place of lack. So I'll give you some examples. So you want to communicate in the language of abundance. So let's say, for example, you want to make more money. Okay, so you're not going to say, I no longer want to struggle paying my bills. You don't want to say that. You want to say, I have an abundance of money to pay my bills, or I have an abundance of money. So in the sense of, let's say you want to turn around the situation with your significant other, whether it's a wife, husband, mother, father, friend, whatever, and you're constantly fighting and you want to turn that around. Well, I have a loving and peaceful relationship with wife, husband, mother, whoever it is, people around me. If you say, I no longer want to fight with such and such person, the universe is not going to understand no longer. It's going to understand fight. And then that's going to be a perpetual situation where a situation will be presented for that to happen. Right? So with that, the other example I want to kind of put out there is if you want to get out of a like probably a dead end job or a job that you are not happy in, you're not going to say, I no longer want to be stuck in this dead end job. You want to say, I have a fulfilling and impactful career. And so that's just being general, that's generalizing it. You can go deeper and be specific about it, but that generally will get you into the place of abundance where then things will start shifting and opening the doors and resources and opportunities for you to have a fulfilling and impactful career. So positive language is very important. Next is the third part is emotionally powerful and authentic. So use feeling words that activate your heart center, that evict an emotional response. Emotion puts your intention into motion. Emotion is energy in motion. So when you're infusing your intention with high frequency emotion like enthusiasm, joy, gratitude, generosity, and love, they will resonate more powerfully, right? So you supercharge that intention when attaching a high frequency emotion such as love. You want to come from a place, if you can, from love, okay? So which is why it's important for not to use negative language, and because if you use negative language, it will sabotage your efforts, basically, and that's all for naught, and you don't want that. So if you have a problem with feeling it, basically, about how, think about how you would feel like when you've achieved that goal right now. The feeling that motivates you, right? Connect to the feeling that motivates you to be or do what you want or desire. The subconscious mind, again, doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So if you have a vision, you want to connect a positive emotion to it so it can prove to be the catalyst or provide the catalyst to get you to where you need to be, right? So let's say, for example, you have a vision and you're attaching fear and doubt. And that's one thing, is that you want to make sure there's no fear and doubt or any kind of underlying fear or doubt there. If you attach fear or doubt to it, worst case scenario is going to happen. And so your worst, probably nightmare dreams will come true. So that's how we focus on on the negative. And some people, as we focus on the negative and continue to focus on the negative, whether it's fear or doubt of something or that one thing, that thing tends to happen more frequently. So that's just an example. So in doing this, if you can imagine, just imagine, just be to get that emotion going, so it's emotionally convincing to your subconscious mind, because it won't know the difference, and connecting to that a positive emotion will get it going. All right. So doing this will open the door in your subconscious mind for the needed energy to flow out into the universe and make it a reality. And basically, if you did well, you would do well with your fears, just to kind of it'll fully convince, it'll bring the subconscious mind fully on board. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So make sure that you keep those in mind. You want to avoid definitely the fears and doubts that come up. So if you feel like you're coming from a place of fear and doubt, kind of go back and reassess, get yourself kind of reset, and then come back to it when you're writing those intentions. All right, number 4, spirit of gratitude. You want to write from a place of gratitude, okay? What you feel, as just as if you already had, again, as if you already received it. Gratitude is associated with positive emotions, so it will automatically raise your vibrational frequency and place you in a space of creation. This connects you to the heart, to your heart, and a place to be receiving, to be the receiver, to receive the frequency that you're trying to connect to. So you're just there, and all the energy, which will be in terms of situations, opportunities, doors, people, anything that is in alignment with the desire, it'll come to you. So that's the spirit of gratitude. Keep that in mind when you're writing your intention. Number 5, what you truly desire. Know what you really want, right? Your intention should be what you truly desire, not what others think it should look like, or what they think you should have, or want it to look like. Write your desires as if you have no preconceived or programmed limitations or belief. Come from a place as if you were 7 or 5 years old, where you had no box to be in or no limits. Just come from that innocence and that place of unlimited possibilities. That's there's no limits at all. Be empowered to get what you truly want. And with that, ask yourself when you're doing this, when you're on that, on this, in this part, what do I really want? Does it scare you? So these are the things you just kind of, this is a little bit of troubleshooting as you're writing this, because it'll kind of identify, not kind of, it will identify the underlying energies, if there is any, that is sabotaging your efforts, right? If you're hesitant when you're asking yourself these questions, just answer it fully and authentically, because that'll help you down the road to figure out what's going on if you need to troubleshoot. Number 6, eliminate judgment, right? Honor your heart's true desire and trust it's for your highest good. It's simple as that. Don't judge it. Number 7, infinite possibility, right? Write intentions from a space of infinite possibility. Again, as I mentioned before, as if you're coming from a space of like a 7-year-old, having the world at your disposal. Don't squish your intentions into just to fit into a preconceived box, or put limits on it. Write it in a way where it will cause your consciousness to grow when it's fulfilled. Recognize your limiting beliefs and don't let it influence when you're writing, and don't let it influence you when you're writing your intentions. Be open to the way the universe will get you to your goal. Be sure your intentions and how you feel is free of fear and free of doubt. I know I've kind of harped on that before, but it's very important that you keep that out. And if you do, go back and follow through again. Think about, what would I do? So think about it this way. What would I do? Or what would you do if money wasn't an object? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Most importantly, use your heart when you're writing your intentions, okay? Then tell yourself that the universe will provide you with whatever you need to succeed, and then go ahead and start writing away. Last but not least is upgrade as you evolve. Now know this, as you move along, your intentions will change. And you have, like, I would say 3 categories of intentions. One that'll last a lifetime. Some will come to fruition and you're done with it. And then some that will just continue to evolve and you'll continue to tweak it as you change. Okay? So when writing your intentions, be specific at first. Be as specific as you want. But the key and the catch here is to not be attached to the details. You want the universe will deliver it to you in unexpected ways. You want to be specific, but don't be attached to details. It is more powerful when you are doing it this way. So you will adapt and improve your intentions as time passes, as I said. You can change your intentions anytime you want. If you get new insight, or you no longer need or want whatever it was you initially had thought you wanted, then you can change it to reflect your change. It's pretty dynamic. So just go with the flow and know that it's not set in stone. Okay. So with that said, that is pretty much the formula. So going back into what they are as a breakdown is present tense, positive language, emotionally powerful and authentic, spirit of gratitude, what you truly desire, eliminate judgment, infinite possibility, upgrade as you evolve. Okay. And things to keep in mind as I end this live is you may be afraid of actually achieving your desire, or feeling of unworthiness may come up. Okay. Those are things you're going to have to work through. That's your shadow work. Okay. This type of energy will put things on pause. It may hold you back. It may make it move very slowly. Okay. Or maybe like a cha-cha dance where you're doing 1 step forward, 2 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But once you are fully on board and once you've worked through that, things will start to happen, and very quickly. Okay. So for your homework for the next week, if you're following this along, the book again is Creation Frequency by Mike Murphy. And week 2 is about brainstorming freely. You know what you can have. Just write down as many desires as you want, your goals, however long that's going to be. And then pick one for now. Prioritize it all. And just pick one for now. And then follow the intention creation formula. Follow through with it. And then take that intention and write it out in present tense. And ensure it's emotionally powerful and authentic and phrased in a positive terms. Use the words love, gratitude, blessed, anything that will revoke those responses and that will light you up. And here are some questions that you can ask yourself as a guide when you're writing this. You want to ask, what does my life look like when I have fulfilled my intention? What emotions arise when I have attained this goal? Where do I visualize myself? Where do I visualize myself being when this becomes a reality? Am I in a specific place that I can describe? You know, how does my achievement affect those around me? What are they saying? And side note here, you really don't have to care. Like, you shouldn't have to care what people say, but this is in a positive sense. Like, you know, think about, oh, look what they're doing. Oh my God, they've achieved this in such little time, or they've done so much. And those kind of praising words that you can imagine, so it can kind of like boost you up and kind of like give you that, you know, that lifted feeling and raise your vibrational frequency. So with that, you have to think about, is it uplifting? Does it jump out at you? Does the words light you up? And does it resonate? And so that is all, my friends. That's it for the week. If you have any questions, if anything doesn't kind of connect or need a little bit more clarification, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Go ahead and ask your questions. Let me know if this is helpful. Let me know if if it's not. I appreciate the feedback. So with that said, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And until next week, I will try to be on next. Wednesdays are not working well for me. I'll try to be on next Friday. Friday seems to be the day that it's going to happen. It could be Friday night or Saturday morning, but I will be on next week for week 3 of the Creation Frequency. Again, you can follow along with the book. If not, no worries. You can catch me live, catch me on the replay, and it's all good. All right. Much love. Until next time, next week.